We're on. Hey, everybody. How's it going, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome
What's
to
up,
Delta
YouTube?
Vintage Baseball Cards. And I am joined by my friend Orlando, Nate, and Shane. You guys are amazing collectors, amazing human beings. You guys have all touched me in some way as a friendship level and a card level. And I really appreciate you guys being on here. What we'll do is I kind of want to tell everybody what we're going to be doing tonight, and then I'll give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves and like talk about what you guys collect in a few minutes and just a little about yourself, whatever you want to go with. We'll do the roundabout standard stuff. We got everybody in the chat. Really appreciate it. I'm going to try and hook up with the chat somehow, just so I can kind of comment once in a while or something. I'm not quite sure. Oh, here we go. Oh, how do I do that?
Yeah,
I'm not quite
get
sure
the chat myself here.
how I'm going to do that yet. Oh, here we go. Nope. Oh, hold on. We're I'm going to try and find myself on here. Man, I don't even know how to do that. Well, whatever. For the time being, we'll just go with it. Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight we're talking about 1990s decade. It's going to be epic. All the great sets and the great cards from the 90s. You could say, or I personally would put this in the greatest decade of baseball cards after the 1950s. This is like full speed ahead in the hobby, and everything about the 1990s in baseball cards specifically was just glorious. We had tons of mass production, so there were plenty of them, but there was also gems that people don't know about, and we have specialists on here like Nate who can talk about those things. And it's just going to be an epic, fun night. And we've got 5 rounds. So the first round we're going to do is favorite standard top set. We're all going to pick one and show some cards. Second round is going to be least favorite top set from the 90s and show some cards. Round 3 is going to be none. It could be a top set, but show some cards from your favorite non-base top set. So it could be, it could be a top stadium club, or it could be anything under the sun, Fleer, Score, whatever. Fourth will be your favorite player you collected during that era and show some cards that you collected now or then, but a player you really collected back in that time. And then the last round will be our single, if it's possible, single favorite card that we own from that decade. So that's what's going to go on tonight. I appreciate everybody in the live feedback or in the comments. I'll try and get on there and do some commenting. Got to figure out how to do that. But in the meantime, I want everyone to introduce themselves. There's going to be people watching this not live that aren't going to know you guys, and I want them to know a little bit about you. You don't spend a lot of time, but whatever you want to talk about, go for it. Orlando, you're first. So tell us a little about what you collect, who you are, and just go with it.
Thank you, Dylan. First of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me on. It's just awesome. I mostly collect vintage, and I kind of stopped collecting modern cars around 1995. So when Dylan called me, I'm like, Dylan, I'm not the best person on this, but when they said Nate was going to be on, I said, great, you got us covered there. But I did collect. I was a dealer in the late 80s and early 90s, and kind of when the junk wax era hit, I kind of, I stopped. But I kept collecting opening wax and building sets all the way through about 1995. And at that time, I just focused completely on vintage. I mean, I went straight vintage, 50s, 40s, 30s, all the way down to, if you look at my channel, the 1800s. And that's really what I've been focusing on ever since. So I do have some modern, but very little, just of the players that I personally collect. But other than that, I do still have all the sets from 90 to 95. So I want to share some of those and share some of the favorites. But, check out my channel. It's a collector's dream. But it's like I said, it's mostly vintage stuff like this. This was my pickup on Saturday at the card show.
Whoa!
I wanted to show it here. I just put the video up before here, but I just picked up the Spawn rookie card on
That's like
Saturday.
that's a baby spawn right there. I call that one.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't have that, and I saw that, and I picked it up, and that's the kind of stuff that I collect.
Well, thanks, Orlando. I really appreciate you being here,
Yeah.
and just because you're into vintage, like me, like all of us, and Nate's a super professional on this stuff. But yeah, I know you're into cards in the '90s, so I really was really glad you said yes to this. So thanks for being here, Nate. Take it away.
All right. Well, I've been collecting since 1983. Well, my first introduction in the hobby was in 1978, but I started buying packs as a kid in 1983, and I collected all the way through 1990, and then I collected heavily through 1990, and then for whatever reason I stopped in 91. I started back in 97, and refractors is really where I fell in love with the hobby again. And Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGuire back in like 97, 98 era. And then now my focus has been Barry Bonds since about 2001. And I am very, very knowledgeable in the 90s, but it seems like the more I learn about 90s cards, the less I feel like I know. So that's the type of decade that the 90s is. So I am always being humbled by things that I did not know about 90s cards. And I would say that my knowledge has really escalated in the last probably 10 years, and in even more so the last 5 years. I created a Facebook group called 1990 through 2004 Rare Insert Baseball Collectors Group, or something like that. I can't remember what the name of the group is. It's something like that. I actually created that group because I was on the phone with a YouTuber who no longer makes videos. He hasn't been around in a while. And since I created that group, I thought I would be the expert in 90s cards when I created that group. And it turns out I have learned 10 times more than I feel like I've taught anybody about 90s cards. So that group has been very humbling, and a lot of really knowledgeable experts are in that group. I would call myself knowledgeable, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert in 90s cards. But maybe to most collectors, they would consider me an expert. But when you get people that really know their stuff, I'm blown away by how much there is to know about 90s cards. And I love 90s cards. And there's always more stuff to discover about them. But the technology, the companies, everything. Anyways, I'll stop blabbing about how much I love 90s cards.
Dude, I love it.
I'll try to show some cool stuff off. But I guess the last thing I want to say is, like, there's no, like, it's just, there's so much stuff out there and so much awesome stuff. Like, if you were to, like, for example, Sunday we had in the 90s group, it was Holy Grail Sunday, and people were showing the Holy Grail of their player collections, and you could choose 100 different cards and they could all be Holy Grails. I mean, there's just so much awesome stuff out there. Anyway, that's what I guess I'll stop now.
Well, Nate, you in my mind, you are the expert in the 90s, because although you might know more 90s people, you're my 90s guy. Shane's
and I understand that.
Exactly.
I get that, but yeah, anyway.
Well, look, we can't all, no one's the best at what they do. There's just no such thing. There's always someone better than you, unless you're the world champion or something. So with that said, Nate, it means so much that you're here. Nate, for you, those of you guys who don't know, he was one of the very first channels, if not the first channel, who ever saw my videos and shouted me out. And I had no idea he shouted me out. I just randomly clicked on a video of his because he left a comment, and I was sitting and eating breakfast with my wife. I tell this story a million times. And there's a Robin Yount rookie card. And I go, oh, well, he commented, so I'm going to click on his video. And then he said my name, and my wife looks up. We're like, what is going on right now? It's like, we were blown away. And Nate reached out, called me on the phone within that week. he was the first guy I ever talked to on the phone, and I was like, I was nervous. I was like scared. I was like, is this real? Is there a real human talking to me? So Nate's an awesome guy, awesome channel, very knowledgeable. So glad to have you. Really,
and he's very
appreciate it.
modest too. Let me tell you,
He's
he's very modest. He is
Yes.
knowledgeable, and he is an expert.
Yeah. And Orlando, by the way, I love your Hawaiian shirt. I even
I wore it for you.
I love it. I should have grabbed a Hawaiian shirt, but I just grabbed a nice. This is from high school, so I was like, I'll put this baby on. All right. Yeah, I probably had this in the 90s. All right, Shane. Shane, Shoebox Legends, another legendary collector and YouTuber, and he's kind of making the rounds lately. He's let the cat out of the bag. His face is on every show these days. He's really letting loose, and he's a guy that should have 1,000+ followers. He has way more knowledge than I do on so many things. He's quite the collector. So Shane, why don't you tell us about yourself and anything you want to say?
Sure. So thanks for having me. I would say, probably the quickest way to sum it up, my collection is defined by my total lack of focus. I'm into everything, all different sports, vintage, modern, graded, ungraded. So while I know some about the 90s, I'm definitely here to be humbled by Nate and others. So looking forward to it. I agree with everything he said. It's the most innovative decade in the history of the sports card hobby, and for better or worse, it changed things, in a way that we still feel today in the hobby. So this should be fun.
Awesome. So stoked. So glad you're here. I don't know if you guys saw that from Mike. It basically gave a challenge out. Nate, you're going to have to throw some fire at that. I mean, there's $10,000 cards from the 90s. There's huge, giant in that value. I mean, there's cards that are spectacular that I want, that we're going to talk about and dive into that stuff and show these guys who maybe don't know as much as you and Shane and me and Orlando. Like, there's some insane stuff. So without further ado, let's go into it. And we're going to pick our greatest. Normally I show all the Topps run, but I don't have every base card from Topps from every year, because I collected basketball and hockey in a certain decade, and I asked these guys, and we could have grabbed a whole bunch, but you're just gonna have to just if you want to know what a 1997 Topps looks like, maybe someone will show one, or maybe you're gonna have to Google it. But right now we're gonna pick our favorite Topps set from 1990 to 1999. Whatever that means to whoever chooses it, whether that's a nostalgic reason, whether that is based off of design or inserts in that set, whatever it is, they can choose whatever they want, and they're going to show some cards from it. So why don't we go in reverse and go back to Shane and go for it if you're ready.
Sure. So Dylan, I know you probably know what I'm going to pick here if you've watched my channel, but I went 100% the nostalgia route. 1990 is when I got into collecting, the spring of 90 as a kid. And so 1990 Topps was the first set that I ever opened packs of, the old wax wrappers with my brothers, trading cards and stuff. And so for me, that was like the set that started it all. And it was the obvious choice to choose for tonight. So I got some examples here. And I know this is not like a universally loved set. This might be the first time, I don't know, that somebody picked a favorite that is also somebody's least favorite. I guess we'll see. But it has really colorful borders, which I love. So there's like 5 or 6 different, main colors to the border. And then it's a little bit tough to make out on video, but it uses this like almost like comic book type, like stippling printing technique on the side. It almost looks like the Roy Lichtenstein set or something. And so I just love that kind of multicolor border, the tie to kind of comic books. It's a set that looks like it's designed for kids specifically, which is great. It's actually the first set, I believe, since 1975 Topps that shares that different borders depending on where the card falls on the checklist. I think every other set in between 75 and 90, the borders are all consistent. So those, differing color schemes is kind of unique.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I never thought of that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and as far as like a timeline goes like that, it was 25 years after the, or I guess, sorry, 15 years after the 75 top set. And then 25 years after the 90 top set, Topps did another colored set in 2015, which was, I think, the next time after that they had multiple colored borders. So I always wondered if the 2015 set was like a nod to, 25th anniversary nod to 1990 maybe. But I think those multicolored borders make it unique. There's a ton of Hall of Famers in the release, as there is in pretty much any set you could pick from the decade. There's like 40 Hall of Fame players on the checklist. Sometimes the design doesn't work so good. Like, I'll be honest, like these are some pretty brutal looking cards here.
Dude, look at that hair. Look at that perm on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's killer. And a great facial expression there on that Zane Smith card. So, I mean, not every
With
card's a winner, but I think when they do work well, they work really well. So I have a few here that I picked out that just like the photograph and the design, the coloring of the borders. This inner border is actually team color matching. So the outer border is always going to be one of those primary colors. But I think it's a nice touch that the inner border team color matches as well, which is kind of cool. And then similar to something I like about like 1988 Topps is that like 3D effect where the bat or the player's arm or, something from the photo can kind of overlap the team name. So I think that's kind of a cool design element as well. So, I mean, I can totally see why people don't like this set and think it's, kind of obnoxious and overly colorful, but I love it. It's one of the last ones to come in these classic wax wrappers that, a lot of us are familiar with from the 80s and into the 90s. Some big rookie cards in the set, Kurt Schilling. Obviously, Frank Thomas is probably the biggest rookie card. And this is also kind of cool, being a first round draft pick card. That's something that I don't believe is allowed by the licensing these days. Having players that haven't debuted yet in Major League Baseball in the Topps flagship set. I don't think they can get away with that anymore. I think that's maybe what Bowman's for. You got the Sammy Sosa rookie, the Bernie Williams, which I think Victor just commented on a minute ago there. The Bernie Williams rookie, and then the Larry Walker rookie card, which I love because he was also a very good hockey player, which is kind of a cool fact about Larry Walker. So some big rookies in the set as well. And I guess, one knock on it, like anything from the early 90s, to me, it's kind of like the end of an era for Topps. They would really change in the next few years, brought on by all the competition that we're going to talk about today. But these were just basic wax packs, no inserts, no parallels, just, the base cards, and you built a set, and that was it. So, a knock on it would be like, well, you can spend $15 and collect, just buy a factory set on eBay and you're done. So you can't really enjoy the set that much, but there's a lot of other ways to collect the set that I've enjoyed over time, like, graded examples of the cards. It's probably, kind of silly to have PSA graded 1990 Topps cards, but because it is a set that holds a special place in my heart, I've picked up a lot of these over time of, Hall of Famers or the key rookie cards. Also autographs, whether in-person autographs, TTM autographs. I have a bunch of these that YouTubers have sent me or that I've gotten myself. PSA DNA cards. So I've got, autographed versions that are authenticated by PSA of some of the cards that I like the most from the set. Buybacks, which is something that we've talked about in the past, Dylan. So, the Archive Signature Series buybacks or, just regular foil stamp buybacks. Box bottom cards. There's tons of ways to collect
show
the
that
set.
box. That's a box bottom. That's a cut right there.
Yeah, this one's cut out of a box bottom. It's a Jim Rice. You can tell because
wow.
the image is a little bit different. This is the base Jim Rice card. This is the box bottom.
Well, I didn't know there were different cards on the boxes.
Yeah, they had different images, and they did backs for them as well, which isn't always the case with box bottoms. So that's kind of cool. And then, there's also newer takes on the set, which I enjoy collecting as well. This is one that I actually used in a
you're going to show it. You're going to kill me.
Recent video that I did. But this is like a tribute to the Doc Ellis no-hitter LSD infused no hitter in the 1970 season. So again, it's not a 90 tops card, but it has that same design and feel. So as somebody who collects and enjoys 1990 tops, this is kind of a fun way to keep the collection going as well. And then just a couple other things I wanted to mention. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I love that the All-Star cards are kind of a throwback to the first ever All-Star cards. So in 58, you know, you had the red for the AL, the blue for the NL, and same thing in 90 tops. You know, they replicated those color schemes for the All-Star cards with the red for the American League, blue for the National League. So I kind of like that throwback to, you know, the original All-Star cards. And then in addition to that, they have Turn Back the Clock, which I know is something near and dear to you, Dylan, that doesn't exist anymore. And then the Future Stars. This logo, this Future Stars logo, like, you know, this was in the pre-internet era. And when you saw, at least when I did, as a 7-year-old, when I saw a player that had this on their card, they were destined for, you know, big things in the Hall of Fame. This is how I identified star players as a 7-year-old. So I really have a lot of memories of that Future Stars logo. And yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, Bart Giamatti card as well, the commissioner who passed away just a few months into his tenure, sadly. So he got tribute cards in a few of the 90 sets. So yeah, I don't think a set that's not looked on probably too favorably overall by the hobby, but just because it was the one that got me into collecting, it just has a special place. And I've just found different ways to try to collect and continue enjoying it over the years.
That's awesome, dude. You blew blew facts out of my mind. I had no idea the colors of the inside were matching to that, and then I never seen that card of that the guy was the commissioner.
Yep.
Never seen that card in my life, and I didn't know the box toppers were different than the actual cards or the bottom of them. Super cool stuff, Shane. That's it. Yeah, without giving anything away, but. I love the 1990 set. What do you guys think about that set?
It's a great
Nate's
set.
like,
I have thick skin, you know, it's okay. Yeah.
Not a big fan of that year, unfortunately.
I love that.
I gotta tell you.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that epic video montage of all those ones. Nate, I'm really interested to hear your favorite top set from that decade.
Okay, before I get started, I'm just gonna say that, like, you know, the 90s was the most, in my mind, the best decade for cards, but not for flagship tops in general. Okay, so it's not about flagship tops. However, if I'm gonna pick my favorite 90s top set, I'm going to go with 1990 tops.
Oh, whoa!
Yes.
Love it.
This is a no-brainer. If you're going flagship tops, 1990 tops is a no-brainer. And Shane pretty much said everything I have to say about 1990 tops. So there we go. 1990. I love this set.
Dude, that's
nice.
awesome.
It's a great set. I mean, I hand collected it when I was a kid, and I mean, I liked it from the get-go. I liked the way that they felt in my hand when I opened up the wax wrappers. I like the way that they, you know, I mean, just like everything about 1990 tops, that crispy sound as you sift through the cards after giving, you know, your local gas station 50 cents. Like, everything about 1990 tops for a flagship set from the 90s is awesome.
Even the smell.
Oh yeah, well, of course, the smell, the bubble gum, everything about it, man. But I mean, Shane pretty much covered it all. I don't. There's not much. I mean, he said everything I have to say about it, and especially about the borders. I really like the colorful borders, and it screams. I mean, come on, guys, that screams 1990s. I mean, everything that was the 90s is encompassed in this set with the look and everything. So it's a nice set. I mean, I like it.
Dylan, I think you referred to it once as the Saved by the Bell design, if I remember,
Hey,
in a conversation we were having.
Yeah. Dude, it's the best. It's awesome. And they have the Tiffany set. You guys ever feel the Tiffany's in those and like look at them? Super awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I can tell a Tiffany without even looking at the gloss.
just flip the back over or what? Or
No,
like,
I can just look at it. No, it's a Tiffany.
so
Even
cool.
on a photograph, I can just tell.
Yeah.
So, but that's
Dude,
that's a whole nother video.
Did you guys ever buy those from the ice cream truck? I remember buying 1990 from the ice cream truck that drove by my neighborhood.
I don't remember ever buying baseball cards from the ice cream man, but I remember buying them everywhere else. I'm sure I did at some point.
Well, that's awesome. Super stoked on that. So that's two for 1990. That's a big one. Orlando, are you gonna blow us out of the water here? Tell us what your favorite one is.
Well, I got to tell you, it's not 1990. And really, to be honest with you, none. It's like what Nate said. None of the 1990 standard base blow me away at all. You know, so I picked one because you made me pick one. But I don't want to talk about the one that I picked. I want to talk about another top set that I love the best.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you. This is my favorite, and it's the 91. And the 91, the reason it's my favorite, it's because I remember back in the day when all of this hype and everything was going on with this set. It was the 40th anniversary. And I don't know if you guys remember that they spent over $1 million, Topps spent over $1 million. And you know, each card has an all-star card and a regular card. Topps spent over $1 million to buy back vintage cards, and they bought back vintage sets, and they had a big giveaway, and the giveaway was the number one person. It was a guy from New York got it. He won every Topps set from 1952 to this current set, and that was the giveaway. And they had vintage cards in this set. And on top of that, they had giveaways where they would give, you know, 1953 Topps set, 1952 set, 1950. Every year they gave away each set, and it was just they really hyped it up. It was their 40th anniversary. The cards were were nice cards. The image was nice. So as far as the base, I really liked how they did the logos, and you know, I think the 90 were a little too busy for me. The borders where these were plain. They had the logo of the 40th anniversary up here, and you know, they had all-star cards, and they had to me that's the nicest basic set. But that's not the one I want to talk about. I want to talk about this.
Yes.
The 1991 Topps Stadium Club. This was really when Topps came out with their top of the line, because Topps stopped totally focusing on their base cards after all the competition came in. You know, they began, it was like the 53 Bowman, you know, and Topps in 1952 Topps came out, 53 Bowman came out with the beautiful picture cards. So what happened? Topps came out with the Stadium, and it was the first, you know, this was basically a records, a setting, a technology new thing back in the day, because they didn't have cards with actual photos and that had actual, you know, great pictures. Here's one for you, Dylan.
Dude, just cruising in the hammock.
Cruising there.
Epic. That is sick.
You know, epic pictures. You know, you got Bo Jackson. You have, you know, Bonds there sitting there in the dugout. You know, nice pictures. The photography in these cards, and what I liked about them, there's some classic cards in there, like this Nolan Ryan pitching in the tuxedo. And in the back of the cards, which was really unique at the time, is they put the rookie cards. And each one, here's the Eddie Murray with the rookie cards in the back. And it was kind of something very unique that hadn't been done. You know, you do have the the Larry Walker rookie card in there, things like that. But there really weren't that many rookie cards, but beautiful cards, the image on these, and it was so basic, just with the logo, the name, and then the back with the rookie card, Topps rookie cards. And, I thought that this very, some of these pictures were just incredible. Look at the Sammy Sosa card and just the Mattingly. And, my favorite is the Griffey card. And it was an era where, all of a sudden everybody was beginning to come out with high-end cards. Upper Deck started in '89, and then from then on, Topps said, "Hey, we got to get going." So '90, they really, you saw the cards they produced in 1990, and then the other thing on this set was the first time that they had done the die cuts, insert die cuts, and this is the Griffey Platinum Powered die cuts.
That's the SP.
The SP, yeah. Oh, sorry. The SP is the. I want to show that. Oops.
Yeah, you jumped the gun.
I jumped the gun. I showed you the wrong one. The wrong insert on that one.
Getting too fired up.
I was actually going to show some of the other members only stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that because it was a time where Upper Deck had kind of taken over in '89. 90 Topps said, what are we going to do? Nothing really happened. The 90 Upper Deck was a lousy set. So 91 came out, and Topps said, they're going to come out with the Stadium with beautiful pictures similar to the 53 Bowman. And then Bowman came out in '92 with their nice, with the nice 52 Bowmans. And then after that, it just started steamrolling. All of the high-end cards started coming out, and that's then from there you had the rest of the high-end stuff. But I think that my favorite top set of the '90s is that '91 Stadium Club. I know it's not the standard set, but I really think that it just has some beautiful pictures, beautiful images, and it was to me that's my favorite set from Topps.
I love it. That's awesome. I mean, I love the fact that the Stadium Club has the rookie card on the back. I've noticed that before, and I think that was like genius. As a kid, I remember looking on the back and just being fascinated that I had that Nolan Ryan card was extra special. I actually almost bought it a couple weeks ago, autographed. Yeah, it's a spectacular card.
It's like a classic '90s pose picture,
Yeah,
it's just a nice card.
So your standard top set was the '91 Topps. What
was the '91 Topps, and I think it was because I lived through that era where it was a big hype, and I remember going through those and trying to buy. I was trying to get some vintage cards out of there because they inserted the vintage cards in those packs, and they had the contests and stuff. And I just remember that. To me, it was it was just one of those things that it was big time. The Topps really started hyping up cards and advertising them back then. And to me, I remember that. I remember more that event.
You're telling me in 1991, in the packs, they inserted vintage cards?
Yes.
I don't remember that at all. I remember there being game pieces in there.
Yeah. I think what they did, I'm not sure if it was the cards or they had a game, something where you had to win the cards.
Okay.
But there is a list out there there's a list out there of all of the winners who won the 52 Mano card and stuff like that. I think it was kind of some type of contest where you wrote it in, you mailed it in, and you got it. I don't think you can get anything now, but they bought over $1 million worth of vintage cards for that contest that they had back in the day.
Super cool. Well, thanks, Orlando. Thanks for sharing that all with us. That was awesome. All right. Well, my turn now. And I'm going to be the guy who kind of just tags along everybody. And not much for me to say now as well, but I'm 1990 Topps guy. And it's literally Saved by the Bell to me because I was watching that back then. And this design always reminded me of Saved by the Bell. And I only have 2 cards here to show since Shane blasted through all those ones. And this one I got personally autographed when I was a kid. 1990 tops to me, out of all the 90s that I collected, that one really struck a chord with me. I love the colors. It was just an awesome set. I don't need to add much because, you know, we got three versus 1. So Orlando, we're just going to boot you out of here.
I'm out. I'm sticking to
yeah.
vintage. Back to
Yeah.
vintage.
1990 top. So that's my one. So round 2. Now this one's going to be kind of tough, and some people don't like to talk about their least favorite, but this is all in fun, and just, you know, as fast as you want to go with it, go with it. So we'll go in reverse. And Orlando, your least favorite top set from the 1990s.
Sorry, guys.
No,
1990 tops.
really out of here.
I'm just not a fan of all of the colors. I just think it's a little too much, you know, even though I love the Frank Thomas, one of my favorite players. But to me, I like to keep it simple. You know, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that set for some reason. Sorry, guys.
I predicted that it would be somebody's least favorite, so at least I got that right.
Yeah,
it's
but
polarizing.
It's not my least favorite. My least favorite of the 90s has got to be this one, the 91 Fleer. I hate those cards.
The banana cards.
That yellow banana, the yellow borders are terrible. So it's not my least favorite, but it's not my favorite. Sorry, guys. It's my least favorite tops.
All right, that's all right. All right, Nate, what do you got for us? Anyway, before we go on, Chris Hayes, he was talking about favorite inserts and parallel section. I think we're going to talk about that, no doubt. I think we're definitely, you know, we don't have to stick to the script here, and that could be part of our favorite cards we own from the 90s. We're definitely going to touch on that because that's the 90s is insert. That's what the 90s is all about. So, Nate, why don't you go give us your least favorite top set?
All right. Well, it would be a tie between 98 and 99 tops. And I just happened to have a 99 tops was the first one I found in my box. So, yeah, it's just boring. But when you go to the chrome and the chrome refractors, then it brings like a whole new dimension. So I love those cards. But the actual base tops 99, just that gold border, it's the second year they used the gold border, and it's just, I just don't like them. I don't have much to say. I just don't like 98 or 99 tops.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, that was easy.
Yeah, they're boring. They really are. Yeah. I agree with him on that one.
All right. Well, Shane, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick too because I tend to try to focus on the positive. But I did find one that I'm really not a fan of, and that is the 1996 tops design. Has this weird little element here in the card where there's like a inset of the player's face, kind of slanted and grayed out, and it just looks a little bit bizarre to me. It doesn't seem like the design is too well thought out or anything spectacular. This is like the 196 tops card I have, and it's because Deion Sanders' facial expression pretty much sums up how I feel about the set as a whole. So that's my least favorite.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, so I didn't have some of the other sets, and that was actually my choice for my least favorite, but I actually don't even have a card from 1996. So I don't even need to show a card, and we can just, that's my least favorite as well. So we're twinning on 2 things here. We're going to move on to,
ironically,
1996
tops chrome refractors.
That's what we need.
There you go.
So what they did is they use this like golf ball dimpling or etching on the 96 tops chrome refractors. So yes, 96 tops is kind of lame, but their chrome refractors are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I could look at this all day. One of my favorite tops chrome sets of all time, 1996 tops chrome.
Was that the first year they did it?
That's the first year for Topps Chrome. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Absolutely beautiful. That dimpling in the back just makes the card pop. So it's amazing what the technology, like the quality of the look of the card when you compare like flagship Topps to their chrome refractors. It's just a whole different ball game. Anyway, I just thought I'd show that card.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad
Love
you
it.
did.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
beautiful
So
card.
96.
And Nate's right. I mean, that's the time that everybody started with all new technology that we'd never seen. You know, remember the first even patch cards started in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that,
Yep,
98?
the birth of the patch cards
Upper
started.
Deck did that. I think it was
The Griffey, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 96, I think,
I
was
thought
that
I
first
thought it was
year.
96. But I
Okay,
mean,
might be
all the
98.
innovation was back in the 90s that you see today. You know, all the Topps Chrome and everything, all the refractors, all of that stuff, all the Topps Finest, everything was back then.
Yep.
All right, so we're getting some more heat from Mike. Now, I know we're just gonna go off of this. We're gonna skip the rest of the list at the moment. Why don't we show Mike some fire from the 90s? I know everybody's got some epic stuff they want to show.
Well, you know, I can show you. There's some basic sets that are from the 90s that I really, really love.
Well, then let's just okay. Why don't you pick your? Yeah,
Here.
well, go ahead, show it off.
Yeah,
Let's
let me show you this one.
do a card show.
The metal.
Oh yeah,
The
the
fluid
metal.
metal. It's sick. And look at how that thing shines like that. I mean, those are awesome cards. You know. I mean, that technology is new. You know, started back in this is the first year, with the metal in the back. You know.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
those are pretty sweet cards.
you know, and then you got the finest. And these are just the base.
Yeah, I'll
The
show you
base
guys
cards.
my favorite
You know, and you had
base set card here in a second. If you want to look
You know,
at
but-
base.
but all of these were just base cards. You know, and they're just beautiful base cards.
Yeah, those are awesome base cards.
So this here, the 1998 EX, this is a base card, and there are multiple technologies going on here. You got the foil, you got the acetate, it's embossed. I mean, these cards are stunning. And yes, this is a base card. And then they followed it up in 1999 with perhaps even a more stunning card.
Love that card.
Yeah.
But these cards are absolute. I mean, look at the name on acetate right here with the foil. And then, I mean, just absolutely stunning for base cards. I mean, these cards are
Let me
cards
show
that
you
you're
another.
going to want to take care of. Even the base cards. And then that's what the backs look like. Kind of really nice looking on the back as well.
Oh yeah.
But I have these on display in my man cave. I mean, they're cheap because they're base cards, so I don't have to worry about them. I don't like putting too many real nice cards out on display. But
check out this Pinnacle base card here.
Yeah, that's a
card number one in the set.
Artist proof
museum collection.
The museum Dufex parallel.
Yeah,
those are beautiful. I love that Dufex technology. It kind of reminds me of like somebody crumbling up a bunch of aluminum foil.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sprinkling it, with the different
sprinkling it on there. Yeah, and it's a base. This is a base card too. So a lot of new technology was developed back in the days. A lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, nice flare.
Flare. We got called to action with the flare. So
I
got the flares in there. Those thicker cardstock. Anyone? Well, let's go in order. Let's go, Shane. Why don't you show us some fire? Give us like 3 of your some valuable, just like awesome cards. Let's show these guys some sick 90s stuff. Let's get them fired up.
All right.
I know
I don't know if I can compete with Nate here, but he showed some of the
We
top
did something.
Topps Chrome refractors, and the other one that was biggest, obviously, was Topps Finest refractors. So here's a John
Wow.
Olerud.
Yeah, that's at
Yeah.
93. Those cards are beautiful.
Yeah, this is the first year they did them. They weren't numbered or anything, but I supposedly there's around 240 or 250 made of each, and
Yeah, 241.
perfect.
Wow. That's
So yeah,
insane.
you would get one per hobby box, and you know
Yeah.
it could be a total scrub or it could be Ken Griffey Jr. and you hit the lottery. So I have John.
Yeah,
Olerud.
and they weren't marked refractor
helmet
on
man.
the back either. So the only way you could tell is the refractor technology.
Yep. And then here's a 94, which is also beautiful. Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
So
Wow.
awesome refractors. And then one of the earliest, inserts were obviously a big thing in the decade. One of the earliest inserts that I remember was from 92 Fleer, the Rookie Sensations cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
They had
Those are
Jeff
Frank
Bagwell
Thomas.
and Frank Thomas were the two names he wanted to get.
Yeah.
Pretty big cards back in the day. And then I have a couple others that just real quick that just show kind of some of the innovation from the decade, but Topps Laser. So these are laser cut die cuts. So all these little gaps here that you see in the flame are actually holes in the card, laser cut through the card. Just an example of kind of the craziness that they were up to in that decade. And then towards the end of the decade, I love some of the other Bowman's Best refractors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here's a Vlad Guerrero.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, the Bowman's Best had the best etching.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
98 there is incredible.
Yeah.
So those are some of the nicer ones from the end of the decade. And then this is just a couple of Griffey cards because he was obviously a big deal. But this is a Stadium Club insert.
Oh wow, I've never seen that card.
Yeah, Royal Court. This one's
Nice.
called. But I mean, just crazy foil elements and shine going on here. And then this one here, Thunderclap. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera. It's an insert from Fleer Ultra, but it's really wild the way the lightning the foil work that they did on the lightning is wild.
Yeah, those are sweet.
And then had some Dufects as well because I love.
Oh, that's
cool. That's a beautiful one. I got that. That's a nice.
You can really see, how it catches the bubble there. Just that effect of the Dufect foil.
I need to get that card, man. That card.
I love that card.
Yeah, it's Dufect.
Looks like
was
a
awesome.
light bulb.
This was a time like I think we touched on it, but a lot of the innovation was driven by competition. You didn't have monopolies, and so all these companies that were involved were pushing each other to be better and more creative and more inventive, and you really saw the results of that. It wasn't always successful, but it was a lot of the time.
Yeah.
One company, Dylan, that we don't talk about too much is Leaf. And they came in and they were very innovative too. And one of my favorite sets was the 90 Leaf. Yeah, exactly.
90 Leaf. All time.
It's one of the classics. And with the back that it's silver like that. It's with the picture. It's just beautiful. And some of the inserts that Leaf produced also. Let me show you some of the Griffey ones that I got here. This is the let's see. This is the 94 Leaf.
Oh yeah.
Those are numbered to 10,000. Those are nice.
Yeah, these are numbered to 10,000. And then they did a 95 Leaf where they actually did like a star, and it's a die cut on this side here. It's a see-through there. It's a die cut. And this was the following year, I think. And then they also had the Leaf Limited, and this is also numbered to, they're all numbered to 10,000. And then they also had the, back in the days, numbered to 10,000, you think today, oh, that's easy to get. No, they were super difficult to get one of these. And they also had the Leaf Limited, impossible to get. And then they had the Leaf Limited. And the technology on that, I mean, it's super cool. I don't know if you could see the shine on that. It's tough. My lighting's not the best, but they were numbered to 10,000. and they were just beautiful
That,
inserts. That
was that the Alex Rodriguez? Or was that the Ken Griffey Jr.?
I've got that whole set. I've got actually
Oh,
the whole
okay.
set of this. This is the
It's so
Griffey.
inexpensive. The Alex Rodriguez is still like $150 for like a 9. It's like
Yeah.
such a underappreciated card.
And they were numbered to 10,000,
Yeah.
but they were super hard to pull. It's just like any of those elite cards from Dunruss and all that. Almost impossible to pull them back
Yeah,
in the
here's
day.
some cool stuff. I got a
Nate,
few
let's see your fire here.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just going to show some random stuff. This
Awesome.
card I really dig. It's a 1996 Leaf Studio, if you guys are going to talk about Leaf.
Yes.
But these came out of what were known as magazine packs. And this is the first pack issue card that I can think of. There might be others, but this is the first, or one of the first, that has a print run of 100. So in 1996, you did not see cards with a print run of 100. And
No.
on the back of it, they're not serial numbered, but it says one of 100, indicating that there are 100 copies of it.
Wow.
So this is kind of a sneaky, sweet card. I love it. I got this one and I got the Barry Bonds of this one. But again, Leaf Studio 1996. Love that card. And then here's one that probably, well, Orlando might be familiar with this if he was heavily collecting in 1990. But you might look at this and wonder, well, that card's not very special, and it's graded excellent 5. But this is a very rare, and these were put into packs. This is what they call the Aqueous Test issue.
Never seen that, Nate.
And yeah, these were put into packs. I think there's about 7 or 8 of these graded by PSA in any grade. So, I mean, when you consider that this is during the height of the junk wax era, and they came out of packs, and there's only 7 or 8 graded by PSA. I know of 2 people that have raw copies, so there might be about 15 or 20 of these in existence. But this is a pretty cool card right here.
Dude, I've got a box of the 90 that Donruss year upstairs. I'm gonna crack it open.
You're not gonna find the Aqueous.
No.
And then of course you got you got the 1993 Finest refractor.
Wow.
Now the funny thing about this technology, now Topps didn't create the technology, it was sold to them. I forget the name of the company, but the very first company that was offered this technology wasn't Topps, it was Upper Deck, and they turned it down. And I've actually seen test issues of 91 Upper Deck with the Chrome technology. I don't have the bonds, but I just felt like talking about that. But there we go, the 93. And then 1998 or 99 is made one of the most beautiful atomic refractors. And this is the Bowman's Best. It's in a BGS slab, so it's not going to pop that well. Let me take it out of this plastic bag. BGS slabs just kill the shine, but this card's pretty sick right here. Very desirable cards from the 90s. And then the card that started it all, with as far as like serial numbered, and guys, this is just random stuff I just happen to have in front of me, but I love these cards. Here we go, the 91 Donruss Elite. This was like what I call this is a pallet hit, not a case hit, not but a pallet hit. So there were probably about 24 cases per pallet. So you probably have to open up about 24 cases to get one of these, even though they're numbered to 10,000.
I love that card, Nate. I've come so close to buying that card so many times. You just kind of talked me into it. I got it.
Yeah, it's gonna probably run you about $100 now, but it's
even more.
This is card number 1, in the first year of it. So Bond's got card 1. Here, this is a cool card. The Pinnacle Skyline.
Oh yeah.
Now these cards were only available at retail that you could find at the Chevron gas station. So the thing about 90s cards is there were certain cards that were only available at certain retailers. And so these were only available in the jumbo packs at Chevron gas stations. So you could buy all the 96 Pinnacle you want, but if it wasn't the jumbo retail packs for Chevron, you're not going to pull one of these. Here is a kind of a sneaky tough card from Pacific, the 1998 Pacific Paramount holographic silver. You just, I mean, it has a stated print run of 100, but you don't see these. And I think the reason why you don't see them very often is because the holographic silver, if you're not paying attention, you might think it's a base card. And then the numbering on the back is, you really have to look. It's just right there, real small. And I think Kramer, the creator, Mike Kramer, the creator of Pacific, used to do stuff like that on purpose. He liked to make Easter eggs. So here we go.
Yeah.
We got the 1997 credentials of Barry Bonds, and this is the
beautiful
EX,
card.
the credential parallel. So this is real popular. If anybody that collects basketball, if they had the Michael Jordan of one of these, you're probably looking at a $20,000 card. Then we had the Pinnacle Inside. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pinnacle Inside, but if you remember, there are these cans that you have to get a can opener to get to the pack of the cards. And so this was an insert in that product, and it was called the Diamond Edition. And these were 1 in every 63 cans. So these cards are super tough to find. So that's kind of a cool card. And then what else we got? Another card I really like is the 1997 Finest. Let me take it out of this. It's the gold embossed refractor. So these cards were embossed. So like Barry Bonds himself, if I get it the right angle, yeah, there you could. He's embossed, and then the perimeter of the card is like a decal edge cut, and then it has that atomic refractor pattern. And so the front of it's pretty cool, but also the back has that atomic refractor pattern.
Wow.
So these are pretty desirable among 90s collectors. So I mean, I could show more. I mean, the thing
that's
about
why we got you on here, Nate.
What?
That's why we got you on here, because you're the expert in this. Like, open my eyes to a whole new way of collecting the 90s cards. Valuable way of collecting them.
Yeah. Here's one, like, there were a lot of really rare cards that weren't numbered. And so for a long time, like cards like this didn't get much respect in the hobby. But this is the 97 Epics Moment card, and this is the Emerald version. There's only 30 copies of this card out there.
Wow.
But it's not numbered. But they're tough to find. I actually found this at the National in 2017 in a box. It was like $60, so I got a pretty good deal on it. But we got that one there, and then here's one like Donruss had a lot of innovation as well. So this one is a prime numbers. Anybody that knows anything about 90s cards would understand what makes this card so cool. But this one has a print run of 374. I guess I should get all the cards for this run. But this is the number 4. So there was a 3, a 7, and a 4. And this one, the first 4 are die cut. And then even though it has it's numbered to 374, you'll notice it's 2 of 374, and only the first 4 of them are die cut. This is the only example of this card I've ever seen. So I'm a proud owner of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's a cool card there. And then I don't know, you see, like, I mean, this is the first time now they call it Mojo, right? But in 97, the the Legacy collection, 97 Fleer Legacy, and that is the Rose Zero. But that's a cool card there. So guys, I could go on and on. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, let me show you guys a few as well. I got a few here that is more. When I grew up, these were like unicorns. You never saw them. You heard about friends pulling them, and I'm just going to share a few of them. I've got this Yaz card autographed in gold from the 1992 score. And these were just awesome. These were numbered out of 2000. This is
I
like,
can't imagine pulling one of those. That would have been epic.
Yeah, I watched a friend pull one of these in 1992 at his birthday party. It blew our minds. He pinned it to the wall with a penny sleeve. It was up there for years. And then I got the 1992. These are the type of cards that I really I'm obsessed with. The cards that were from Upper Deck and autographs from that era that they were unicorns. You never would pull one, but you heard about them. I'm obsessed with these. I want all of them. I want the Ted Williams. I want the Hank Aaron. I'll get them all eventually. And then you have the less expensive ones from 92. Any of these cards back in the day, I'd never pulled these cards, and you never thought in a million years you'd pull one. If I would have pulled one back then, I would have lost my mind. You got the Stan the Man in gold ink as well. I mean, this card was like $100 now, which blows my mind. And there's only 22,000 of them ever, and they were pack inserted. And then of course, maybe one of my favorites from that decade. Yeah, the Donruss Elite.
Love it.
The Legends series, and it's just a spectacular card. And this one's one of those numbered ones. And then, of course, this is not regarding rarity, but this would be probably my favorite card from the 1990s, period. And that's the Griffey, the SP. So, Shane, you have any from that decade you want to share?
Yeah, I got a couple others. This is a cool one. It's Cal Ripken Jr. He's a player that I was into during the 90s, but this is the Select Gold Team insert. And you can tell it's pretty wild, the effect on the front. But what I love about these, they're not numbered or rare or anything like that, but the back of the card is also done in like a gold foil.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool. It's one of the more unique card backs I've seen in a while, or seen really since. And then this is another one that probably remember from the middle of the decade. You mentioned Flair, Dylan, but the Flair Hot Glove inserts were one of the best die cuts that I can remember, which is obviously another technology that was brought in this decade. Really cool cards. And then just a couple fun ones. So this is these were
the
look like credit cards. These Studio Gold.
Yeah.
Player stats were like the card number, and just
That's sick.
Nothing expensive, but just more examples of kind of the innovation and thinking outside the box. And then this one's random, but we had Michael Jordan's brief entry into the world of baseball in the 90s as well. So
yes,
pretty cool card there with Harry Carey and Michael Jordan. This is a parallel electric diamond. It's not rare or expensive, but just a cool image from the game in the 90s. And then are we doing like overall favorite card or?
Yeah, let's do last round. We'll end it soon. We'll do overall favorite card. I chose mine, the Derek Jeter. That doesn't include, that's just a regular base card. So try, if you want to keep it at that, do whatever you want. Favorite card.
Yeah, so my favorite card of the decade is, the Andy Pafko of the 1990s, 1990 Topps #1, Nolan Ryan.
Rub it in Orlando's face there.
Yeah, exactly. So, to me, it's just interesting to think like all the things that we talked about, during this episode, and especially what Nate showed off, what was coming out by the end of this decade, that at the beginning of the decade, this is still what we had for a baseball card, cardboard back, nothing special, no inserts, just a regular card. But obviously, this is like a 50-cent card. So my favorite version, it's kind of cheating a little bit, but recently picked up from Archive Signature Series, the 1-of-1 Nolan Ryan auto of 1990 Topps #1. So, for obvious nostalgia reasons, was probably my favorite card as a kid. Being able to get, kind of a modern buyback version of that stamped 1-of-1 with his auto on it is pretty special. So this is a recent pickup from this year, but at the moment, you know, it changes all the time, but probably my favorite 90s card at the moment.
Dude, that's a mind-blowing card right there. That's right. That's a real, so everybody knows, that's an actual 1990s Topps card that Topps bought back, stamped it, put 1 of 1, and had Nolan Ryan autograph, correct?
You got it. Yep.
Mind-blowing. Put it in a box and someone pulled that. So
Yeah,
cool.
it's like, given my love for the set, it's like the perfect card for my collection. So when I found it earlier this year, it was like awesome moment. So currently my favorite.
That's sick. That's awesome. Okay,
Wow.
well, you got
That's
number
an
1.
awesome-
Okay, Orlando,
awesome
let's
find.
see your number 1 card from the 90s.
It's an awesome find, Shane. Really, that's incredible. I've never seen that before. That's awesome. But no, I was going to say my favorite set of the '90s is the SP, the Upper Deck SP, and
Yeah,
I just the whole set. I like it, and I'll tell you what I like about it is the way they put the set together. They put all the All Stars in the beginning. All the All Stars. There's 18 All Stars. Look at the pictures and stuff. 18 All Stars. They put them all at the beginning of the set. Then every team has 9 cards. Every player has 9 cards for every team. So if you put it in a binder, you're going to have the All Star, the 9 All Star from the National League, All Star from the American League. Then every page is going to have that team, 9 players from each team. So it's really neat how they did that. They really thought it out well. And then at the end of the set, of course, they have the well, they have all of these,
yes.
which let me see if I can get a good shot of them all. And wait, I'm just gonna have to go one at a time. And they have great rookies, Mondesi here. You have Johnny Damon, rookie, and you forget that they really had, Carlos Delgado, rookie card. There were some great players back in the day. That there's Chipper Jones, rookie card there. Also, not its real rookie, but still considered a rookie card. So out of that, my number 1 card for the '90s is the Derek Jeter rookie card. I think that's just an iconic card, and
Twinsies.
that's
Shane?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. You blew the
that
whole
to me
thing.
is the number 1 card to me in the whole '90s, and the number 1 set in the '90s, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree with you. Nate, what is your number 1 go-to
Well,
card?
okay. Well, I can't, it's impossible for me to say the number 1 card, but the number 1 funny story card is this one. And the reason why is because my friend bought one of these and eBay Authentication rejected it. And it's because the people at eBay Authentication don't know enough about 90s cards to know that these cards are real. But this is a what they called the proof from Prism, and it is actually printed on vinyl.
Incredible.
Wow.
And so I think it's funny that I know it's 2000, but anyways, there we go. So that one's
That's
funny.
so rare.
And then the card that really got me going again in the hobby after my post high school hiatus. And I've talked about this card before, but it's a 1998 Ken Griffey Jr. Finest Refractor. I remember buying this card for $85 back in 1998. And once I bought it, I was hooked on refractors. But the card that I'm going to show 2 more cards because these are my favorite cards that Bonds doesn't have a card in the set. But McGuire does. So these aren't super valuable, but they're just cool. This like embodies the 90s. So this is the Diamond Producers, 1999 Fleer Ultra Diamond Producers. And what I love about this card is, one, it has that cracked ice look. It's embossed. It's acetate. It's got everything. It's even die cut. So like it's die cut on the sides and on all 4 corners. So this card's pretty sick. And then of course Fleer Mystique established. Man, I wish Bonds was in this set. But this card is sick. And then when you look at the back, it just is like this mirror shine with that 90s flavor to it. So those are cool cards. And then my favorite patch card, of course, Upper Deck.
Wow.
Made the best patches of all time. So there we go. Logo Man.
Incredible stuff. I've never seen any of those cards ever. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I
That
got
patch on that Bonds is just beautiful patch.
They could do a 12-hour show showing a card every second.
Look at that.
Still have cards left over.
Yeah, it is sick.
That is a sick note.
That's like a 1-of-1 for sure.
Yeah.
Well, stoked, you guys. I mean, we went off, we got the list done, and then we kind of diverted, but it made it really fun. And it was really, I learned a whole bunch. I hope everybody watched and learned a bunch. And I really appreciate you guys coming on here and talking about 1990s cards, because they're underappreciated just because they're the junk wax era. That's the junk wax era that was my favorite time of collecting. You know, late 80s, early 90s was like prime time. I didn't care that they printed 8 billion. And I don't care today that they print 8 billion. There's always gems to collect within that millions of cards printed, and there always will be. So whether they're printing too many today, it doesn't matter, because there's always going to be gems to find, just like there were gems to find in the 90s. And having you guys on here to show us those gems and to show us where we can collect back from our childhood, some of us, is just spectacular to see and spectacular to hear and gain that knowledge. So appreciate you guys all coming on here. Anybody have any final words they want to say before we end it?
No, I think this was a great wrap on why it's the best decade or the most creative decade. I mean, we saw everything, how many technologies that didn't exist at the beginning of the decade that did by the end, die cut and foil and refractors and parallels and autographed cards, relic cards, all that stuff didn't exist in 1990, but it did by 1999. So it's a really fun decade to collect.
Yeah,
you know what I love about that?
Other stuff that I didn't show, but like, I mean, all the acetate technology I showed a little bit, and then like they printed stuff on wood, they printed stuff on cloth, they literally had cards that were printed on paper. They had cards that were printed on like the type of like photo negative material. I mean, stuff that's like, I don't know, maybe like a 5-point stock, like plastic photo negative. I mean, there's everything. I mean, I don't have enough time to really give a good representation of the 90s. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there.
It was the great experiment in cards, and it's still used to this day. Which is
one of the things, Dylan, that I really like about the 90s was that, and Nate said it before, there were hidden gems, because back in the 90s, we didn't even know that some of those cards even existed. You know, some were, only 250 were made, or sometimes even less. And we never, ever, ever saw those cards. And those hidden gems, some are not even numbered. So it's just a unique time back then, that when it was first started, the rare search for those cards, very interesting. I love some of the stuff that Nate has there. Some incredible cards that, you never see those. Never.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's there's a lot of cool stuff out there. So but yeah, as long as everyone thinks that nobody appreciates it, that I'm happy about that, because I can keep hunting it down.
Yeah, I love it. You always say that. I love that. Well, dude, thank you guys. Thank everybody in the live audience tonight. That was really fun. Appreciate all the comments. Appreciate you guys supporting all of us up here in my channel. And dude, I can't say enough. Thank you guys for being on here, and it was great fun. So double shaka, everybody, and have a great night.
Double shaka.
Double shaka for everybody.